Hi, today I'm going to be using a training gun. This is a Humerex pistol. It's a Glock replica. It's actually licensed by Glock. It is the size, shape, and weight of a Glock 19 or Glock 23, which is Glock 23 is what I carry. Has a nice resetting trigger, and of course it is an airsoft gun. You have to be careful with them. If you don't make them inert somehow, you still have to use caution with them. But you wouldn't be wanting to do force-on-force training with somebody without making the gun inert somehow, without making sure that it's no longer able to fire anything. But working today, I'm going to be talking about what happens when your gun is not something that you can use to protect yourself immediately. Oftentimes, handgun owners, people who carry handguns, either concealed on their belt, wherever they carry it, are under the mistaken notion that that's the end all of all self-defense, and it's not. The fact is, there are a multitude of occasions where you may not be able to use your gun, or may not be able to get to it in time to defend yourself. What are you going to do then? I'm 63 years old. Now, I hope that doesn't run off everybody that's 23, but I'm 63 years old. This becomes more and more important as you get older, not to just let your skills, as far as your ability to punch and kick and move and act reflexively. It's important not to let that go, and it's important to practice those type things, and practice with a gun, a training gun. There's all kinds of them on the market you can get to do this. Practice with a training gun, punching, kicking, and actually even using your gun as a weapon of self-defense without firing it. That is a scenario that is much more likely than you actually being able to use your gun to shoot attackers. So I'm going to be showing you here, just giving you a few ideas about how this works and what I'm talking about on these two bags here. On these two bags, what I do is I actually make another skin on them with Gorilla Tape, because I know where I'm going to hit them, and I hit them with my gun. They're not made to be hit with a gun, so I make another skin on them. Here's what's critically important for anybody to understand that carries a gun, is that gun is just a small piece of what we might be able to use to defend ourselves in a criminal assault. If you're under threat, if I'm under threat from two people here, they come up on me right here, they're this close, they come out from behind something, they just walk up to me, I've got a gun in a holster here, or I may have it inside my waistband, wherever it is, they're too close for me to do anything right here. So what I'm going to do probably is just stand in this very submissive looking position and say, could I help you out? I don't want any trouble. You see, with my hands right here, if your hands are in this position right here, it looks submissive. If I'm just talking to somebody, it looks very submissive, but if your hands are in this position, if they were guns, they'd be locked and loaded, because you can reach this guy from here, I can reach this guy from here, this guy, whatever I need to do from these two hands, and my hands are in position to fire. So if I'm talking to this one, I know where this one's throat is, I can get that one's throat. He's been hit in the throat. Nobody stops and does anything else when they get hit in the throat except that right there. Now, I'm standing here, again, I'm 63 years old, keep that in mind. And if you're in your 50s, 60s, 70s, older, it's really important that you learn to get flexible, that you exercise, and that you learn to do basic self-defense, so that if you can't use that handgun immediately, you are able to fend off attackers and at least move them back, or put distance between you and them until you can get to your firearm. So I'm standing here right now. I can't get to my gun yet, but I could hit this one. And I may move to the outside now. I can get my hand on my gun. But this one's coming back on me, and he's right here on me. I may not be able to pull and shoot, but I can sure do this. There's nothing to stop you from using your handgun as a close-in weapon of self-defense without firing it. It's a monumental club in your hand. Another scenario, just if you can set yourself up something that you can punch and kick. It doesn't have to be bags, it can be something else, but if you can set yourself up something to practice on, you can work out all kinds of scenarios. Another one here is this one to the throat, reaching up to grab this one, blocking something here, hitting this one, getting myself some room, firing. If I have to use it here, you see, if we hopefully, if the unthinkable happens, it's going to happen from over here. In other words, this guy right here is going to be over 30 feet away from me, coming this way with a knife like this, or pulling a gun where I've got time to do something to move into the position I need to be in to protect myself by firing my handgun. Just as, or if not more often, you got these type scenarios. Somebody runs in on you, got two people coming in on you, you're cornered. What are you going to do? You try to draw that gun, they've got you before you do anything. But your hands and feet are available. And it doesn't have to look like there's even anything wrong. I'll do whatever you want me to do. Don't forget that gun is a stationary weapon in your hand. You can use it all kinds of ways to put distance, to give yourself time to get away, back up. This isn't to provide a full self-defense training regimen today. It's just to give you an idea of what you can do with your hands and feet and what you must learn to do if you really want to be capable of taking care of yourself. It's got to be more than just depending on this sidearm that's on your belt, down inside your pants, in your pocket, wherever it is. Because so many scenarios develop where attackers come in, they're close, or somebody that's a threat is in close to you. No matter who you are, whether you're 23 or 73, take time to develop your reflexes. If you have the opportunity to get into martial arts, to some kind of martial arts class, do so. Learning to punch and kick your reflexes. Don't plan on it turning you into a street warrior, but understand that it will improve your ability to focus and strike and kick and put distance between you and an attacker. Because your goal in any self-defense scenario should not be to duke it out and see who's the toughest, or see who can fight the best, or see who can shoot it out the best. Your goal is always to stop the threat, stop the attackers, and escape. And maybe have your family or whoever's with you escape. It's always to escape. It's not to win, it's to stop and escape. Hope this helps a little bit. Get yourself some self-defense training. Get in some good exercise. Learn to punch and kick. Practice using a training gun to hit, strike backwards, strike under, do whatever you have to do if you might be able to pull your handgun but not be able to fire. All these things play into real self-defense when you carry a firearm. I'm Mark Rogers. I'll see you soon.